What up, though? And welcome back to I'm Growing Man. It's your man John D in the building. Um, Today has been a very productive day. I am on summer vacation, but I am doing summer school, so I guess I'm not really doing summer vacation. But I have a shorter schedule. I'm off. I was off yesterday due to Juneteenth. So happy belated Juneteenth to you guys. And then today was my first real off day. And I was out in them weeds. I got the weeds out the front. In the process, I'm removing some invasive weeds in the back, but it's a work in progress. But the front looks pretty good. And I wanted to get on here and talk about just where you are in life. No matter where you are, no matter how hard it is, your life can turn around. When I say turn around, it's literally on your own effort. Even if you don't like your job, think about this. This is a suggestion that I think that everyone who's in their job that don't like it, this is how you can turn it around. Become cold in it. Like when I say cold in it, I mean like do a great job. Do a job where you would recognize, like, oh, that person is doing a great job. Become that person. And I know some of you guys, depending on your age, you don't got time to be working hard. But the reason why you're doing it now is because you didn't really do that when you were younger. And this is what I want you to understand the message when you get out of this. If you do a great job and you work for somebody, they don't want to keep you there. They're going to eventually see if you can, well, they're going to have a conversation with you, of course, but they're going to be interested in seeing how they can get the most out of you. And typically, when that happens, your pay goes up and you'll find a lot more flexibility than working wherever you are at this point in life. And the reason why I want everybody to know it because it doesn't matter your age, you know. I just want people to know. I'm gonna give you an example of what you could do. And this can only be done on your own effort. And I'll tell you this, you won't find too many adults to disagree with you, but you will find a bunch of them that won't put in the effort. Let's say if you started out at a fast food restaurant, 16, if you get to work on time and you smile and you know how to work well with others, you're going to get an opportunity to move up. And I'm not saying this is something that you're going to do for the rest of your life. But if you're going to do the job, I feel like you gain so many skills by doing a great job at whatever you're doing. But when you take your job seriously, people start to recognize how can we get the most out of this? Now, you may look at it as like, I don't want to be used, but you don't want to work there for the rest of your life. So if you put that effort in, it's inevitable that somebody's going to try to come get you. Now, let's change the age. Let's say if you're 40-year-old versus a 16-year-old. You know everything the 16-year-old already knows. But for some reason, after we get to a certain age in life, we feel like we're not supposed to put that work in. If you put the work in, you change your opportunities. But if you don't, who's going to put the effort in somebody who's not even doing what they're supposed to be doing? And then this, you know, there are people that believe just because they worked at a job a long time that they deserve more than what they're getting because they were there for a long time. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's all you're going to get. But if you want more, you have to do more. And then I know it's like, I'm not trying to make a company rich. Well, don't. Why don't you learn everything about this job so that you could become more marketable for yourself where somebody can use your talents from the experience that you got from being at that job. And I think that's the key piece that mankind misses. I do know that there are people that work really hard, right? And they don't move up. But I think just thinking about those who's having a hard time, it's something else that's preventing them from being able to move up. Because I do believe in asking the right questions will put you in positions that I think it just started raining. But hard work and asking questions will put you in a position for more opportunities to gain financial freedom and find more flexibility in your daily schedule. Now, I do know that they say when you move up, you get more responsibilities. That is often the case. But if you learn how to do your job, it will put yourself in a position where you won't complain as much. It'll be a lot more challenging. You'll be more into it. I think the biggest problem I see with people in when they get jobs they don't like, they perform like they don't like the job. You may not like the job, but your performance is everything. And if you don't put the work in, why would anybody find another position for you? I really feel like people need to work at somebody else's job as if it was their own company. Because if you if you see somebody working hard in your company, aren't you going to want to give them an opportunity? Because I think it only makes sense. But we get into this mind state of shortcuts. And if you look for shortcuts, you're just going to get paid whatever you're doing. You're not going to find ways to increase your the worth you believe you deserve because you haven't done anything to say you deserve it. And I do believe that in the universe we live in, if you do what you're supposed to do, things will change. And I don't know if you guys have been listening lately, but change is definitely the only thing consistent that we can agree in the world. Things are going to change. And if at any point you feel like you don't need to change, is when you get old. And I think that's when your mind starts to look toward the end. And our brain is what separates us from other species here on Earth, at least. And if we're not using it or working it out to create a different result, we're just wasting it. And I can't believe that I'm closer to 50 and it took me majority of my life to realize that I was following the wrong message. And I never learned how to complete a process until this journey that I'm on now. And I'm still learning to complete it. But I have seen results where I know that if you just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you will ultimately get what you were looking for. But you have to like believe you're that important. And that is the real message. If you don't believe you're that important, you'll never do more than you're supposed to because you think that I think you don't have to say it out loud, but you feel like you think you deserve more, but did you really put in the work? And if you did, why do you think that was enough if you didn't get it? Did you see somebody do it before you? Did you read up on it? It takes a different kind of diligence to achieve. It's almost like you wasted the ideas that think that you were that important because you never put the effort in to develop the potential you always had. And I know life be lifing, but if you ever get to break away from life and you can find out why you are not where you're supposed to be, I think you'll fall in love with the idea of self improvement and becoming more aware that your effort changes the results. I've been podcasting for 5 years now. The thing I've learned the most about this is that your want to do this has to be more than like some type of financial benefit. I think me wanting to share the information I learned is what's driving my energy to continue with like doing this for free. Like I know that there's different ways that I can be compensated for the information I have, but I feel like this information is free and I wouldn't want to charge that. I feel like I'm supposed to charge you for my time. And this isn't necessarily this is like my daily routine. I'm supposed to find ways to improve my communication so that whoever's looking for the message I'm trying to deliver is able to receive it. And I think the most difficult part of the process is believing you're doing enough because you can always get better, right? And I found different things that I I'd stopped doing in my routine that I don't do as much, and I started to incorporate that back into the routine, and I've seen the creativity spark from just the way that I'm thinking now. Because whether you believe this or not, you're probably at the best part of yourself at this moment because you know the most information. You may not be the happiest, you may not be the richest, you may have made some mistakes, but you have this information where you can not feel that way anymore. And if you don't put in the effort to find out why you feel that way, and a lot of time it's from childhood trauma, but if you don't get therapy, counseling, or have a safe place to discuss why you feel the way that you do, it's going to be very difficult to deal with it yourself. And if you don't deal with it, you're going to display emotions that really don't reflect what you want people to believe. And if you don't find that peace, it's more difficult to enjoy this thing we call life because you didn't ask to be here. Okay, we can agree that you're the product of some other people's reasons, which happen to be your parents. And however you grew up, you got a certain amount of information, and it was on you to use that information to continue to grow. And your parents did everything that they could to give you a better opportunity than the one that they had. But I think that the key component and when we become adults is that we can still get better. I think, like I said, life can start life and raising kids, getting tied up with your job, the chase for financial freedom can become so distracting that you forget that you come first and you'll put yourself behind and you'll be the last person to benefit from anything because if you don't work on your goal on a consistent basis, you're going to help everybody else before yourself. And that's not fair to you. So just be more mindful of how you use your time, especially when it comes to you. Because if you work hard on yourself, it will in turn make you happier. And I said this 1,000 times. A happier version of you creates a better product. If you're not happy, you're not going to put the effort that you should probably put into something. So keep that in mind when you guys are navigating this world. If you're not happy, find out why you're not happy. Unlayer that onion. That's probably the best thing that I could have ever done was unlayer why I was acting the way that I did or why I was doing the things that I was doing. I had to go all the way back to childhood. And even I had to uncover things that I didn't even know was a problem because I thought that I just moved on. But until you go face it as an adult, it's always going to be back there. And I haven't unlayered everything, but I do know that I'm a lot more comfortable with finding things that made me the person that I was and using that to become the person I want to become. And that comes through just experience and believing that this journey has been so fulfilling because it's given me a different perspective on how to approach just people in general. Like learning to deal with the emotions that I didn't know how to deal with made me want to master communication so that I can make sure that I establish boundaries and I don't cross boundaries. It it gave me a confidence that made me feel like everything's gonna be all right as long as I put the work in. Before I used to think that everything was gonna be all right, and I thought I was putting the work in. Like I said, if you're not giving 100%, and you may not even know what that looks like or feels like, but giving 100% will in turn make you feel like you should probably do it more often. Because if you don't do it 100%, you're gonna get a result that you may not like, and you're gonna stay away from something because you didn't get what you thought you deserved. So those of you that are putting that work in and you haven't gotten it yet, keep working. It's gonna come. If it was easy, everybody would have it. Today is a day that I can say that I created it. I woke up, I have a routine to get better in different parts of my life. I was productive. I spent time with my family. And it's not even 1 o'clock. And now I'm shooting an episode where I feel like I'm trying to share my journey to hopefully inspire somebody to believe that they can change their results too, whether it's through your diet, whether it's doing physical activities to build strength, muscle, some type of process where you can see, like, if you do what you're supposed to do, you'll get this result. I challenge all of you because you become a whole different person when you know the process of completion. I'm about to let you guys go, but I'm going to tell you, to work on something and get a result you didn't even know you could create will make you fall in love with working on yourself because you have no idea who you are. You make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or the action will get after you. Be great on purpose.